if you're slapping $880 tickets out to students like myself, they're gonna have a really hard time, seeing as if you don't work in an essential service and you're not able to get benefits from the government, there's no real way for you to come up with the $880 on top of paying for tuition, on top of paying for textbooks and just essential living. Like if you live on campus or something and you have to buy groceries every week and stuff like that, like that's really gonna put a halt on your progress. You might even have to take the semester off.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Angus, Ontario. Well, folks, I'm meeting up with Liam Dowd earlier this month. Liam was in Pickering and he went to a skateboard park that had no signage. It wasn't roped off. He decided to do a little skateboarding and, well, wouldn't you know it, three bylaw officers came out of nowhere and gave Liam one of these infamous $880 fines. Let's hear Liam's story. You found yourself a few days ago in Pickering, Ontario. You saw a skateboard park. You are a skateboarder, I can tell by your equipment. And while you were killing time waiting for your father to do some grocery shopping, you went for a skate, and then what happened?
Basically, as soon as I walked out onto the skate park, 3 bylaw officers walked out and they just ticketed me. They didn't give me a warning. They didn't tell me to just go. I asked. I tried to talk to them about it, but they just stuck me with the ticket.
And can you give us an idea of, what kind of conversation went down? I mean, was it confrontational, or were you simply just trying to reason with them and point out that you didn't know that the skateboard park had been closed?
I tried to explain to them that I really had no idea. Like here in Angus, the skateboard park is clearly boarded off. And in Pickering, actually, there was no tape, there was no signs. There was one sign, but it was way over off. I wouldn't have known that it was there unless if I didn't go back and double check. But it wasn't clear enough that it was closed, so I had no idea, so I just tried to talk to them about it. But yeah.
And they weren't buying it. They were going ahead with that $880 ticket then.
Yeah, they were pretty straightforward on the fact that they wanted to ticket us.
You would think maybe the way they should approach this is with a warning, to do education, maybe even if that doesn't work, dispersal, and as a last resort, say, okay, if you're not going to play ball, and now that you know what you should have known before, we're going to give you the ticket. Maybe there'd be some sympathy, but you said they were basically, laying an ambush, waiting for somebody to give a ticket to.
That's what it seemed like. I definitely agree with the fact that it should kind of be more of a last resort, because if you're slapping $880 tickets out to students like myself, they're gonna have a really hard time, seeing as if you don't work in an essential service and you're not able to get benefits from the government, there's no real way for you to come up with the $880 on top of paying for tuition, on top of paying for textbooks and just essential living. Like if you live on campus or something and you have to buy groceries every week and stuff like that, like that's really gonna put a halt on your progress. You might even have to take the semester off.
I don't know your financial situation, Liam, but would $880, would that be significant to you?
Yeah, I don't work that much, but the money that I do make is just barely covers enough for my car insurance and for me to get to school, let alone pay for textbooks.
It's interesting because it was bylaw officers, plural. You said there were 3 of them. I wonder, were they always maintaining social distancing?
At first, no, actually. When they came up, they're all pretty close together.
Well, that would seem to me to be the biggest danger that occurred that day. I'm assuming these 3 bylaw officers aren't all related and live under one roof. So I don't know. It's kind of the message I'm getting here is do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. That's pretty ironic.
This is a significant amount for you indeed. I personally, Liam, I think this is egregious. I'm sure most of our viewers would agree with that. And you know what? This is exactly why we launched the website, fightthefines.com. It's to go to bat for people like yourself. You weren't bothering anyone. I can't see the danger here. I can't fathom what the crime was. By the sounds of things, it sounds like the bylaw officers were more in violation of the social distancing laws than you were. And secondly, I just wonder if they had all that time on their hands to lay an ambush, if you will. Why didn't they, I don't know, put some signage up, put some police caution tape around the
Put some
skateboard,
more, yeah.
like we see here? So what we're gonna do for you, Liam, you've already been in touch with our legal expert, Sam Goldstein. We are gonna crowdfund your legal fees. You aren't gonna have to pay a single penny when things return to normal and we go to court, and we're going to fight for some justice for you. What do you think about that?
That's amazing. The best news I've heard all week. Thank you so much.
Okay, then. Well, I'm with our legal eagle extraordinaire, Sam Goldstein. And Sam, just an incredible case out in Pickering involving Liam, 18-year-old kid, just works 20 hours a week part-time, $880 just for attempting to use a skateboard park that wasn't really signed off as prohibited. What are you going to do for Liam?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to know, David, that whether people like it or not, the law is you can't use public amenities and playgrounds, and you ought not to have been using the skateboard park. But nevertheless, I think what this case underlines the most is the fact that our bylaw officers, as opposed to, I think, the police, the bylaw officers are enforcing this as if it was a law and order issue and almost a revenue generating issue as well. And what this is a public health issue. And I think, and what I mean by that in the contrast is you look at Winnipeg, and in Winnipeg, the officers, even the police, whether police or bylaw officers, have hardly been issuing any tickets. The last time I checked, as of about April 14th or 15th, they haven't issued any tickets. And the reason why is they're going out there and they're engaging the public. They're trying to explain to the public that this is a health welfare issue and get them on side. Where the bylaw officers in Toronto, I think, are just being completely punitive. And I really fault John Tory for this more than anyone else, because he's been coming out with very strident and definitive statements about how you can't do this. And I think that's sending the message of law and order to the bylaw officers. And if he would be more thinking in terms of a health and welfare type of enforcement and trying to say people, look, please don't do this, explaining to the bylaw officers, trying to get people on his side, giving the underlying rationale, I think that'd be a lot more effective way of doing things.
Correct. Well, Sam, thank you so much for taking on this case, and I am sure Liam is in very, very good hands with you, my friend.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, there you have it, folks. Yet another egregious case of the so-called pandemic police throwing the book at, well, in this case, an 18-year-old kid that was just innocently skating in a skateboard park that did not have signage, was not roped off. I think that might have been a better use of the bylaw officer's time, to tell you the truth. But in any case, we are going to fight this case for Liam. I don't see what the crime was here. I don't see who was put in danger. And certainly, local municipalities should not be using a global pandemic in order to pad their coffers. That's disgraceful. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, have you had a run-in with bylaw or law enforcement regarding these COVID-19 safety precautions? Have you received one of those $880 fines for misbehaving allegedly? Well, tell us your story. Please go to fightthefines.com. That's fightthefines.com. And if we think your story has merit, we will go to bat with you. We will employ our lawyer, Sam Goldstein, to fight that fine when the courts reopen. And hey folks, if you don't have a story to tell, but you would like to contribute to the crowdfunding so that we can pay our legal bills, again, please go to fightthefines.com. And if you can, kindly make a donation.